Welcome into game three. So far, extremely spicy series coming out from Gogurt versus Dino Club. It's interesting to see what Dino Club can do here to really try to bring the game series back into their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, they immediately respond to that last game. They do commit to dedicating a Gnar ban onto Drippy Darius, really trying to avoid that happening again while also throwing out the Vayne ban onto Aiden 7.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Oh my God, that cat scared the hell out of me. Oh man, my cats are being wild
Ooh,
around me. And we're gonna see the Lulu
interesting
ban.
process. I would never have imagined Dino was going to go in for the Lulu ban. That's kind of an interesting pick there. As Gogurt kind of hovers a couple different chances. Looking at that Akali, hovering several different champs. I wonder which one they're going to settle on. And it looks like they are going to settle on an Ezreal pick. So putting Aiden 7 back on that pick that did him so much work in the first game. As Dino Club responds, locking in that Jinx pretty quickly, immediately followed by that Karma.
Yeah, man, I especially like watching the Ezreal from game one. There's no reason to try to run it back because you saw how well Aiden was able to hit those max range ults. You're gonna see the Kale, which I might assume will go in the mid lane, similar to Dupless, just because I've seen Akumio play those characters before, so I know he's very experienced on those.
Yeah, he has a lot of balance in the like as a top laner. Kale's one of those champions that's pretty flexible and that you'll probably play a couple of times at least in the top lane. So kind of having a little bit of familiarity on the champ, also getting a lot of late game scaling available for him. And there's a lot of options available for this jungle pick. And interesting to see. I don't imagine they'll let it go to the second bans. Looks like they're looking at the Shaco pick here.
Yeah,
Or the
or the
Kane.
Kane. Yep, the Kane is open. They banned it every other game. They know that Dino Club doesn't like to play, and it really puts their jungler and mostly their jungler in a hard spot along with Rim because there's a good chance that they want to play these tanky champions.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love that Kane coming out and that one pick that was unavailable a couple of games. So going to be really interesting to see how that factors into I'm Pissed Cheese's jungle style overall, as it looks like it's going to be the Malphite locked in for PG Dino Club here as we go into the second ban phase. So kind of just securing some more really strong, definite engage on the side of Dino Club.
I think it's so important to have this kind of engage on the side of Dino Club because that's what they've really struggled to have in these other three games. They couldn't really make any of the fights really their own. And I think that's one thing that I see that they're remedying and that I really enjoy to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Malphite pick personally. I think it's a pick that's relatively, if you can get through those first three levels unscathed, you're going to basically be fine for the rest of the game in top lane as long as you kind of play safe around your strengths and weaknesses and just don't get ganked or anything. So I do really like this pick coming out of Gyno Club as they ban away the Shen that caused them a lot of problems game one, and they also ban away the Silas. Excuse me.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to see the Silas. I'm kind of actually surprised to see the Silas ban, only because I assume the Kale is probably not going top lane. I'm pretty sure that is a mid lane Kale, even though it is more frequently seen in the top lane. But with Akumio into this series still, I really have a feeling that he's going to be the one piloting that champ.
Yeah, it does seem like that's kind of going to be the way that they go and approach this. This Dino Club locks in the Oriana for Dupless, really just trying to get a little bit more control in those team fights, it seems like, and kind of just establish more presence in the lane that way through kind of controlling more ults. Meanwhile, as we see the Nautilus pick coming in again for Gogurt, they've run it for 2 games in a row, and they're just going to stick to it. Hey, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, you might as well just keep running it. Like, it's kind of funny they didn't want the Nautilus to begin with, but now he's going to choose the Nautilus all 3 games. It's showing how extremely powerful it is. The one thing I do not like that Dino Club is doing here is I do think that Dupless is extremely important to their success. I would have liked to see Dupless play something that has more lane priority, that's something that can like dominate the early game, but instead he's still opting into scaling, and I think that could spell the doom for Dino Club.
I tend to agree with you to a certain extent, but I think, ooh, and the Zach pick coming in for the jungle. Interesting pick here. I will say, with the, I think what Dupless lacks in that like lane presence and those first kind of like 1 through 6 levels, I think he makes up for it with that team fight presence with the Malphite and the Zac. That seems like a very capable duo of being able to just kind of dive in, at least force the Ezreal to like shift backwards, arcane shift backwards, and kind of be able to fight more front to back, which is what the Jinx loves doing.
Yeah, the only thing though is that there's just so much value in a lot of the champions that Gogurt has picked. You've got the Sunderer, which is such a good tank buster, and the Grudge Rush as well, that should just basically destroy the Malphite and the Zac. Not only that, Red Kayn has so much value. Kale and Kayn is an absolutely super strong combo, and then Gwyn is just a tank milter as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out for sure. Will Dino Club be able to go and just put it in, be able to use their leverage and their insane engage to create some advantage, or will Gogurt leverage their insane coordination between the Kale and Kane? Going to be really interesting to see how this game goes in terms of the Ks. But I'll pass it back to you in Defiance. How do you think this is going to go?
Honestly, it's like normally I would like the picks from Dino Club if they were facing other teams. I think this is a good comp that can generally be really well. But the problem is, if you're losing every game by like 10, 17, 20 minutes and you're just getting snowballed on, I don't see how the Orianna fixes it. I don't see how the Jinx fixes it. I don't see how the Zac or the Malphite fixes those issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like most of those issues that came in those first 2 games specifically came from mid-game play, right? Where Gogurt was able to exploit those leads and just create very small leads that eventually turned into immediate, like, gargantuan leads in terms of lanes and CS. So it's interesting to see that Dino Club is really just going for those plays where I feel like they think that they're more comfortable on being able to force fights on their terms. So having the flexibility with the karma to be able to kind of disengage some fights with the mantra E, while also being able to engage from long range with the Zac and Mal fight followed up with an Ori ult. I feel like that's something that Dino Club loves to play around is their ability to create things on the map. But again, at the same time, it's going to be very hard to do that against a Kayn and against a Gwen.
Yeah, it's so difficult. Like I do think that they will be able to team fight better. I do think their comps are more well-rounded. I probably would have liked something like this more in round 1 or 2, but instead of banning the Lulu, I really would have liked to see a Kane ban if they were planning on picking Malphite and Zac.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand the necessarily. I feel like a pick that Saucy Monkey is especially very comfortable with, and a pick that they're fine with throwing him on. So it's pretty interesting that they are deciding to opt into something that's more of a hard engage. Hey, we're trying to team fight you. We're trying to catch you off guard. We're trying to blow someone up kind of champion as opposed to some of the more enchanter based compositions that Dino Club has played in the past.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they pilot this. I think a lot of it's still going to have to basically just play around the bot side, especially with like the Jinx, and you just really need to get her ahead to be able to withstand the snowball that Gogurt has been managing to get in all of these games.
Listen, it's just a matter of if they substituted that Zac pick for a Trundle pick. Can you imagine how huge that could have been with the Nautilus? Oh, just off the Nautilus, get that tankiness onto you. All of a sudden, you're a split pushing monster. Oh my god, I'm telling you. Trundle is the future, and everyone is just living in the past.
I do think Trundle is definitely underrated at the moment as well. But I'm gonna go
Yes.
ahead and let it go to intermission, I believe, while we let it load into the lobby. Welcome to the third game of BTL. Let's see if Dino Club is able to bring it back. See if their team fighting comp can withstand the early game of Gogurt and try to bring in this reverse sweep. But so far, it seems like Gogurt has a really good comp to try to dash the hope of Dino Club.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking like they have a really strong presence in overall their entire lanes. Sending the Gwen mid with Kale top is definitely an interesting adaptation to this comp, assuming, oh, let's get this Dino fact in real quick. Dino fact. Similar to birds, newborn hadrosaurs would stay in their nests after hatching. And oh no, saucy monkey! Not while I'm reading the Dino fact, no! And that's going to be first blood going over to Gogurt immediately.
Not
Not
only
what you
that,
would hope
but
for
it's
if you're
on the
hoping for
lead.
a reverse sweep from Dino Club.
It's on the person they want it the least. It's kind of interesting though, because I do see that Piss Cheese has elected to get the Dark Harvest. I'm pretty sure he's still going Red Cane this game, but then again, he could be really BM. They do know that he's trying to start here, and it's just gonna have to queue away.
Ooh,
His jungle timer
Dupless.
is gonna be slowed down.
Oh, that's actually a very nice play from Dupless, taking a fair bit of time away from the Kane as he has to go to that blue buff. Well, Delightful Jew is gonna be able to finish that pretty quickly overall. And that
Yeah,
Kane is pretty far behind in terms of his jungle pacing right now.
yeah, but fortunately for him, he did get the experience and the kill gold going over. If I was him, I would have just reset after getting the kill. Get
Oh,
the
but
long
this is a
sword.
quick level 2 gank coming in from the Delightful connecting on the punch. Akumio staying low. Oh, Delightful Jew flashing on. Akumio staying low. Oh, able to just barely survive. That's going to be the W. Getting a return kill. That's pretty valuable this early on in the game for this Orianna.
Not only that, but Kane decided to go and try to help, I suppose, only still doing one camp at this point. So it definitely keeps his jungle clear slow, but Zach has also only done his blue buff.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of the kill and XP going over to Dupless, I mean, in terms of the lane, I feel like that is something that you want. You want to be able to put, if you're Dino Club and you're down 2 games, you want to be able to put your mid laner in a position where he's able to at least have a lead and have some agency on the map. Even though he is technically playing an Orianna, it just gives him a little bit more power to maybe be a little bit more aggressive in lane, maybe go for a couple more aggressive trades, and try and force this Gwen into a little bit of an unfavorable situation.
Yeah, and it's really good that they start getting Dupless ahead. I think a big thing about this game needs to be Dupless snowballing. Same with Rim Almighty. I think if they're able to snowball, there can be team fights that they easily take over with the prowess of those team fighting champions. But the problem is you've got the scaling of Kayn, Gwen, Ezreal, and Kayla on the other side. So it's the question of if it will be enough to handle Gogurt.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle from Gogurt, right? Like, there's several different CCs. Like, that Nautilus ult is so underrated in terms of the amount of time it can keep you locked down after, oh, an aggressive Hex Flash into that bush. It looks like not much is going to come from it. But a little bit of a trade going on in the mid lane as we kind of facilitate the lanes, calm down a little bit as a hook connects onto Coach Kirk, but oh, that's going to be a gank coming from the Kane pretty quick. Coach Kirk is going to be able to escape pretty easily and be in a pretty decent position, although the gank came through. And Kane still hasn't been able to find his gank on the map yet.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is though is that he's a champion that scales so well just with farming, but he doesn't really have anything to farm at the moment, and you just have the Delightful actually going taking his jungle. I think he's gonna try to go mid, but I'm sure Dupless sniffs this out, and Dupless is just sitting there playing safe, getting his farm, and meanwhile Kane is just sitting there spending more of his time actually soaking and getting the farm from his mid lane, allowing his Gwen to then reset while also getting him some much needed gold value considering how much of his jungle he was losing.
Meanwhile, Rim blowing flash in the bot lane, but it looks like they're trying to get something in the top lane here on Drippy Darius, as there's not much place for him to go, and he's going to drop to the Delightful Jew. And that's a gold lead going over to Dino Club, one of their first of the series, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty happy with how this game is going so far.
Yeah, I would be too, but the thing is they've only still got about a 300 gold lead, and they, like, even though that a lot of their
hook going on to the Coach Kirk, and that is going to be a quick kill going over the Nautilus.
Yeah, it's very thankful it went over to the Nautilus. You do not want this Ezreal to get ahead. We have seen Aiden pilot this before, and he just can output so much damage, hit all of his ults, and he just looks like an absolute terror in some of these games.
Yeah, absolutely. Aiden really came here to play. Knew coming into the series he was no slouch, but he's really proving that he is the elite of the BTL here today.
Yeah, he's playing like an absolute MVP for his team, being such a great player. And then another person who's been playing really, really well has been Piss Cheese. In all of these games, he has had such control, running over top in game 2, and then and then on Shaco running all over the map, just creating havoc. It's nice to see Delightful take a little bit of the tempo back though in this jungle matchup. But the thing is Kane is one of those champions that is just kind of a farming, scaling type champion, and it seems like Gogurt is just ready to match the team fights of them later on. They have to pretty much keep this going, and they might catch out the Nautilus here, but I don't think there's damage to actually kill him, though.
They do have a route onto the Nautilus. They don't have the follow-up from Rim Almighty as he's just back to get some items, so he's just going to be able to walk away scot-free, just a little bit of damage, and he's going to be able to full health off of that plant. So here we are, pretty even overall, with a slight goal lead in the favor of Gogurt, but oh, that's going to be a stun going onto the Gwen. She's going to get over the wall and get over to safety real quick. But looks like we have a little bit of a trade going on all over the map, apparently. But things are going to calm down immediately.
Yeah, and I do think that they need some summoners on the bot lane to be able to play aggressively. But man, this Nautilus is just going to really be a pain in Dino Club's side, constantly having just so much pressure on a flashless bot lane.
Yeah, especially if you look at this top lane matchup too. This is a level 6 Kale now, so she does have an auto attack that does outrange this Malphite. So this lane did get a lot harder for this Malphite right now, especially in terms of the positioning of the lane and where it's at. He's taking a lot of damage from this Kale, and this looks like it's going to be a dragon going over to the side of Gogurt. Unless Coach Kirk hits the bind, they might look for a fight here. That's a flash hook going on to Coach Kirk. He is eviscerated. Rim Almighty is going to drop shortly after. Double kill going over to Aiden. Akumio is not done with the fight yet, though. He is still going in. That's going to be an Orianna ultimate dropped by Dupless. But the fight is not over yet. They're still fighting. Saucy Monkey gets dropped super low in the top lane. And that's going to be the end of the fight there. Very good turn and an exchange of events for Gogurt. Now emerging from that with about 1,000k gold lead.
Okay, so even though I already assumed as much based off of his, well, because I assumed based off of his runes, I thought he might go blue Kayn, even though I think red Kayn is definitely the definitive pick here. Instead, because he's going for Mana Mune, I think that pretty much just goes to show he will be going into the blue Kayn. That is usually his build when he wants to. And we're going to see Zach try to come in here, not really be able to land much here. And that's what happens when you have like inconsistent, like basically gank pressure onto a lot of these mobile carries.
Yeah, the thing is with Gogurt is they did a really good job of establishing safe escape routes for those ganks, right? The Gwen has pretty easy escapes, and the Ezreal also has pretty easy escapes. The Kayle is the only one that is a little bit more like easy to gank, but they really did a good job of preparing their lanes to not get ganked and just be able to deal with those ganks appropriately from the Zac. So it seems like in terms of draft overall, they did a really good job of at least like kind of, I guess since they picked it before the Zac, as that was the last pick, they kind of anticipated it, I guess, and figured it might have been going for an engaged jungle, but I don't know what their thought process was behind the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly either. It's just, man, I'm trying to think of where Dino Club is going to be able to find their advantages here.
But Drippy Darius, that Rift Herald is coming out for a little bit of a party, but that's going to be nothing really happening in the top lane. Kale's going to get out pretty much unscathed, as Delightful Jew is going to clear this red ward in the river, and we're back to farming.
Yep, so they're just kind of pretty much farming it up at this state in the game. Thankfully, the bot lane of Dino Club have their summoners. It's so important. But man, Aiden can just output so much damage. But what a nice trade back from the side of Dino Club there.
Yeah, absolutely there. Because that Jinx, man, I'm telling you, it has a really just random ability to just turn fights in your favor. It can happen in the most random assortments, but I feel like Jinx a lot more than random 80 carries, especially if she's able to trigger that ult passive and get that speed boost and attack speed boost. She really is able to clean up fights and just take care of business. But it looks like Lord One is looking for a Nautilus hook. He's going to hit hook Coach Kirk. They're looking a little bit more. That Ezreal ult hits Rim Almighty. Going to walk away. It's going to be a bit of a favorable trade going in the side of Gogurt overall. But if you're Dino Club, I can't imagine that you don't at least admit that it's like, okay, we got away alive. That's a W for.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to like it's so hard for me to analyze 'cause I just think that like there's such a draft disparity that Gogurt happened here, and we don't even have time for that.
And that was instant. They have a 4-man bot. Coach Kirk is gone, and there is no way of getting any return here. Gogurt is going to be able to get some nice blade damage here, and Delightful Jew is going in. Burning ult, having to burn flash. I don't know what that was, but
I think it was more kind of a desperation play, but man, there wasn't going to be much coming out of that. Now you just got solo plate gold going over to Aiden, who's already 302. He's just absolutely massive, almost double the gold of Rim Almighty in this game already.
yeah, it just seems like Gogurt knows exactly how they're going to win the game. Like, look at that CS difference between Aiden and Rim right now. Like, 111 to 58 at 12 minutes is not ideal at all, especially when you're down 3 kills. And I'm pissed Cheese is not done yet. He's going for a bit more. He might be beating off more than he can chew as he dodges out. Dupless trying to finish off the kill. Akumio coming to support. Dupless getting dropped incredibly low. Is there going to be a way? Delightful Jew is able to kind of divert the power from Dupless. Really well played from Delightful Jew, actually, there to keep Dupless alive.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed though that they were able to get out there. I thought it was just doomed for Dupless, but man, Dupless has even managed to just get out with his life. Has his flash almost back on cooldown. TP'd straight back to base, so now he is safe, and he's just gonna have to run back into the mid lane. But man, is this not already looking like a lot of the games we've seen previously?
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is the same 2 games prior to this, the same thing happened, where Gogurt was able to secure such a strong lead in the middle game that no matter what the scaling of Dino Club was, Gogurt is able to maintain that, and that is going to be a lot of damage going on. She is going to get dropped. 8-7, picking up another kill. This just keeps looking worse and worse for Dino Club as Akumio drops in, comes in, hits the scissors on 2 of them. That's the Nautilus hook coming over, and that is Rim Almighty dropping. Not what you want from Dino Club if you're trying to reverse sweep the series.
Yeah, like they're already a team that needed to basically stay almost somewhat even in gold to be able to handle it. But then now you've just got all these item breakpoints coming in from the side of Gogurt. You have Ezreal, who's just an absolute menace this game, like way too strong to really be effectively dealt with. And then you also have this huge power spike of Riftmaker onto the Gwen, and she's gonna be able to rip and tear through all of these tanks all games long. And then not only that, but it's gonna be so hard for the carries of Dino Club to focus and even team fight when you're randomly gonna have a Kane able to get into the back line and just be able to shred them in about 2 seconds in a blink of an eye.
Exactly, and the fact that if you take into account that currently they have almost a 5k gold lead with a Kale on their team is just a disaster, really, Dino Club, because she's just going to get to a point where even if she's not like the fed person or the fed carry of the team, she's able to do so much damage with just her levels and her items and her scaling. So, like, couple that together with our gold lead, it seems like there's really not a lot of options for Dino Club here to get back into this game, as this Kane is looking for a kill onto Rim Almighty. And that's going to be the ult dropped onto Grim Almighty. How is he going to get... He's auto-attacking. He's trying to get away. The Kane drops a W, hits a tower shot. He is very, very low. Might be dropped to a Karma Q here. Oh, but he gets the heal from the wall and is able to get out scot-free.
And if I was Saucy Monkey, I'd be definitely going for the flash ult, except now he's too close to the turret. I don't think it's really worth it anymore, but let's see what he does. He's just going to hit the wave, and the ult just comes on through, doesn't really hit anybody on the backside.
Absolutely. Really not much going in the side of Dino Club, and the time that they spent in that bot lane really hurts them because that causes them to lose a mid lane turret. All of a sudden, it gets a lot harder for them to find a place in this game. Especially, oh, Dupless flashing the ult. I don't know if that was necessarily intentional, but he did it, and it seemed like it was a good play. So good for Dupless. That was a good play. I'll say that was a good flash.
I mean, it kept him alive, and that's better than dying, so I will always, always take those.
Yeah, we always take those, right? If you live, hey, good flash, Dupless. Oh, but, that's going to be an unstoppable force coming for an escape. Pretty nice ability there because he actually, low-key, did a pretty nice play, actually being able to take out some of the CS and some of those minions that were attacking that turret. So, I mean, in terms of, like, using your ult to escape, that was probably one of the best-case scenarios.
Yeah, pretty much at this point, but man, they're just hemorrhaging gold. A 6,000 gold lead already at 16 minutes into the game.
Especially down 2 dragons at this point. They don't really have a lot of vision. If you look at the wards in the jungle, Dino Club is looking to establish some control in the top side of the map. There is a little bit of vision in the bottom side of the map that they're using to track the bot lane of Dino Club. So pay attention to that. They do have control in the top side of the map if it looks for a Baron play in a little bit, but this is going to be I'm Pissed. He's going in, trying to evaporate Coach Kirk, but he's not going to be able. He flashes out. Rim Almighty trying to slowly hammer away, misses the ultimate ability, and I'm Pissed Cheese just showing the ability of this Kane to get out of really, really tricky situations.
Yeah, that's the power of having the Kane pick as well. He's able to sit there and basically play super aggro, even disrespectful if you will, and then just is able to get out when he doesn't get what he wants. But man, Ezreal just getting so much damage.
Oh, but this is going to be an Orianna ult coming out onto the Ezreal. Still able to have a significant amount of health. E out, he's still alive. And Saucy Monkey looks like he's going to get dropped here. Nautilus getting knocked up with the unstoppable force here from the Malphite. Gonna slap them together with the Zac, but it looks like this is a pretty even trade overall. But it's gonna shift in the side of Gogurt because they're gonna be able to get this tower in a little bit.
Yeah, this is looking absolutely disastrous. I'm not really sure how they can come up to this. The gold lead just keeps ballooning, and not only that, but the item power spikes just get harsher and harsher for the side of Dino Club in comparison. And like, at what point do you do? I think you just have to like hope all of your ults are up, because your summoners are not going to be up with how much they're being pressured here. And then you just try to do like a 5v5 at Baron, and then I guess try to coin flip and get some of these shutdowns.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Dino Club, you're hoping for the ability to just randomly engage on position. Dalton's going, or Delightful Drew's going for that right now. He's going to get dropped very low. He does have the passive, so he won't die immediately. That's going to be the Jinx rocket hitting on Aiden, not doing any real damage as a Cameo flanks in. Delightful Drew trying to deal with him as he can, as the passive is going to get proc. That is going to be Saucy Monkey dropping down to a Cameo. And double kill going over to the Ezreal, and that is going to be a triple kill onto the Ezreal, finished off with the ace onto Rim Almighty. Gogurt looks like they're here, coming for the title very hard.
Yeah, 13-2. What could be what is looking like a 3-0 series performance? If that's not a statement from the first seed, I don't know what is.
Absolutely. Gogurt, and even with the adversity of having to play a playoff game with subs, is really just showing up, and even in the fact that, hey, even if these individual laners are very skilled in their positions, they're still able to play with such coordination, and I think that's just so admirable from this team. Meanwhile, as they drop in, trying to create something onto Akumio, Delightful Jew trying to ult on with the Zac ult, not really doing too much damage overall to Akumio. He's trying to turn it around. That's going to be the Oriana ultimate, and that's going to be Coach Kirk dropping down. Akumio is still alive! Oh my god, barely, almost getting the clutch out of that kill. And honestly, if you can't even want to win a 1v3, Dino Club is in a really rough position right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It just seems like all the item breakpoints that they need are just way too expensive to get back into this game. They've already got almost a 10,000 gold deficit. So, like, how are you going to be able to pull back on this? They're already going to be at Soul Point before 20, or they're already going to be at Dragon Soul and threatening that before even 25 minutes. How do you get to your late game?
Yeah, it's the fact is at this point, if you're Dino Club and you're this far behind, like, you have to basically just hope that the other team misplays, right? And and that's gonna be Delightful drop by Piss Cheese. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's just getting rougher and rougher. All the outer turrets and inner turrets are now decimated. Not only that, but the Kale is only 3 levels away from hitting her power spike, and the Ezreal is just so close to hitting his 3 items as well.
Yeah, especially with this Baron going over, it'll be tested. They're gonna get a huge gold lead here. And I know in Defiance we were saying how if Dino Club came back from last game, it would be the greatest comeback in BTL history.
No, this would be
But
the greatest
this would be the greatest comeback in BTL history. So it'll be interesting to see if Dino Club can pull this off. It's looking very dire to them right now, especially when you have Aiden blowing an ult on a blue buff.
Yeah, at this point you can tell Gogurt's just messing around. A flash over the wall.
And a flash. Oh no. Oh no.
Well, I mean, how cocky they're feeling right now. I mean, when you're this far ahead, like, you almost don't need it. That's a 12,000 gold lead at Soul Point at 22 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the defending champions here look like they're on their edge of their seats in terms of how they're able to do anything, and they're basically just hoping for a Gogurt misposition where they can get a kill or a shutdown. Oh, but that might be it! That is going to be the shutdown! Going onto the Kane! But they are chasing onto the Nautilus. But he's surviving. He's able to get out. Coach Kirk getting dropped very low by the Gwen. Still going forward. The Nautilus hook is missing onto the Coach Kirk. Coach Kirk able to heal off of the Karma Mantra W. And Saucy Monkey and Kirk are able to get out of there. I mean, Akumio still going in. Able to flash out for Saucy Monkey. What? I mean, overall, that's probably the best. I was gonna say that's probably the best thing you could get out of that fight if you're Dino Club, but then Dupless died, and it seems a little like less than it now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just so unfortunate. But, man, Gogurt's just looking to try to end this game, get as many engages as they can. It seems like they should actually be able to pick the Nautilus up here.
Yeah, that's going to be the Jinx passive coming in. Interesting to see. Dalton Delightful Jew is really trying to start something here, but he is going to almost get dropped by...
That's 2 inhibitors down.
8 and 7. Man. I'm having a harder time to think of an MVP for this series than 8 and 7.
Yeah, basically, he's just had a amazing performance every single game he has played. Definitely being a good replacement for Saj, the season MVP of last year.
Akumio hitting that Zonia's 5 as well. This looks like this is going to be the end of the game. This looks like Gogurt is going to assert their presence as the #1 team of the regular season. They're going to push down this Nexus. They're going to destroy this turret. And Gogurt is looking to the BTL Finals this year. Wow, just an incredible run from Gogurt overall. Really just a dominating 3-0 performance over Dino Club. The defending champions coming in, sending a message, hey, we're here to play. We're number one for a reason, and we're ready for these finals, and we're ready to see what happens.
Indeed, indeed, and we'll look at the damage charts there. You see that 8 and 7. I guess Saj made the right call to continue having 8 and 7 continue playing as he was absolutely popping off in this series. We see the amount of damage that he was able to put out there to absolutely get an incredible early lead and just some incredible play from the some of the lesser seen players.